So let's think about this. Your smartwatch tracks your heart rate. Your smart home app shows temperature instantly. But have you ever wondered how do these devices actually send data to the internet continuously without draining any battery? And more importantly, why don't they just use the same protocol as websites? That's where two protocol comes in, HTTP and MQTT. So in this video, I'll break it down the simplest way possible. And by the end, you'll exactly know which one is better for IoT and why. So let's first see about HTTP. So HTTP is basically the backbone of the web that we are using every day. Whenever you open a website, your browser sends a request to a server, and the server sends back a response. Yeah, it's that simple. So think of it like ordering a food in a restaurant. You place an order, and the kitchen then sends the food to prepare it, and finally you get your food on the table. That's HTTP. Now here's the catch. Every time you want new data, you have to ask again. For example, if you are checking temperature using HTTP, your device has to keep asking, hey man, what's the temperature now? Hey man, what's the humidity? Again and again. This process of asking and fetching the data again and again is known as polling. And this basically creates problems. And those problems are it may cause more data usage, it may cause more power consumption, and finally, it won't give us any real-time values. So while HTTP is great for websites, it is not designed for continuous IoT communications. Yeah, that's where MQTT comes in. So MQTT stands for Message Queuing Telemetry Transport. So MQTT works completely differently. Instead of request response, it uses something called a publish subscribe model. Sounds complex, right? But it's actually very simple. So think of it like a YouTube subscription. You subscribe to a channel, and whenever a new video is uploaded, you get notified instantly. So you don't keep refreshing the page, right? That's exactly how MQTT works. So here's how it works. First of all, device sends data to a broker. So the broker means it's like a middleman. And this process of sending a data to a broker or a middleman is known as publishing. Other devices or apps subscribe to the data. And when the new data is available, it is automatically published to a subscribers. No repeated requests like HTTP or no unnecessary communication. Just efficient real lifetime updates that we need for sensors. And the basic architecture of the MQTT consists of three that are the broker, the clients, and the topics. And let's compare them side by side. So if you want to see the communication style, HTTP is like asking questions repeatedly, where MQTT is like getting notification automatically. So if you want to compare the data efficiency, HTTP sends a lot of extra data headers formatting, while MQTT is super lightweight. That's why MQTT is perfect for devices with limited bandwidth. And power consumption. Yeah, this is a big one. HTTP drains more power because it keeps making requests. It's like asking someone the same question again and again, while MQTT is minimal for communication, which uses very low power. That's why battery-powered IoT devices prefers MQTT over HTTP. And real-time capacity. HTTP is not truly real-time. It depends on how often you request, while MQTT is real-time by design. The moment data is available, it is delivered to everyone. Complexity. So HTTP is easy to understand and implement, but MQTT requires a broker and a setup. But to compensate that, we are getting a better performance for IoT. So when to use them in a precise way? So now the question is, which one should you use for IoT? So to answer it simply, I can say this. We can use HTTP when you are building websites or REST APIs. You don't need any continuous updates. Or finally, if you prefer simplicity over complexity. And also for e-commerce website and to build any dashboards. Or even for search and discovery, you can use HTTP. So when to use MQTT? So MQTT is really used when you are working on IoT devices and when data is sent frequently and when you need real-time updates, and finally when power efficiency is more preferable for you, and even it is used to push notifications and in the smart home monitoring system, and finally in healthcare systems. So let's compare the real world example which might be relatable for us. Imagine a smart home system. You have a temperature sensor, a motion detector, and finally a mobile app. Using MQTT, sensor sends data to the broker. Your app instantly receive updates. And finally, the lights turn on. No delays, no constant request. Now imagine doing this with HTTP. Your app would have to keep asking any update, and finally any update. Not evasion at all. So now you do know the difference. HTTP is powerful, but not optimized for IoT, while MQTT is very lightweight, efficient, as well as built exactly for this purpose. And that's why most modern IoT systems rely on MQTT. If you found this helpful, drop a like and I'll break down more IoT concepts like this. See you in the next video.